Hey funnel builders, Mike here from sellyourservice.co.uk. So one of the big problems that a lot of funnel builders face, especially when people like me start talking about things like $10,000 websites and $10,000 marketing funnels, is the jump from going from your initial low offer pricing up to higher pricing. Even if we're only talking about $10,000, that might still sound like an insane amount of money for some people to charge for a service that traditionally they've only been doing for $500 or $1,000. So the problem comes particularly with our own mindset based around the confidence we have in delivering $10,000 worth of goods. So the psychological kind of aspect of it is that previously we have delivered, 5 pages, some written content, integration with their autoresponder, a discovery session, a consultation session, some design work, development work, hosting, security, and we have all of these things, and the last person paid $1,000 for it or $500. Then you have guys like me coming in and telling you, oh no, you should be charging $10,000 or $25,000 or $35,000 or whatever is profitable for you. And even if you go through some of my previous videos, my previous worksheets, and you work out that actually, yeah, you really should be charging $25,000, it becomes very hard in your own mind to justify that jump. Sometimes 10xing, 20xing, 25 or even 50xing your old pricing for what seems to be the exact same deliverables. And you kind of think, well, if the last person only paid $1,000 and even then they kind of said, this seems very expensive, and now Mike is telling me to charge 10 times that or 25 times that, it's really difficult for us to make that shift. I think there's a huge misconception that when we charge a customer for something, that the next customer is going to be directly comparing against what your first customer charged. It's not like we go to customer number 2 and say to them, hey, this is $25,000, and for them to go, well, didn't you just charge $1,000 to the previous guy? Now that can happen perhaps if it's a referral, which is why this kind of area is very dangerous, because if you're only working with $1,000 customers, it makes it very hard to get referrals outside of a $1,000 customer network. So as soon as you go to 25,000, they're not going to say, oh, didn't you just charge $1,000? They actually probably have got no idea. Pricing is a really funny kind of equation in our own mind. Pricing's got absolutely nothing to do with what you deliver. It's entirely down to the market that you serve. Now, what I mean by that is obviously there's a huge amount to say, well, have I delivered $25,000 worth of value? And if you list out everything that you do, you comfortably do $10,000 worth or $100,000 worth, depending on all the little intricate pieces that you do. Setting up accounts, setting up autoresponders, updating plugins, learning all this stuff. There's a big deal about learning. The fact that it's taken you, even if you just spent a year or 6 months really cramming and really understanding everything you can do about a marketing funnel, becomes very, very difficult to look at that and go, yeah, this is only worth $500 or $1,000. If you want to make that change, if you want to start charging higher prices, my advice to you is first of all, go back over one of the previous videos where I talk about structuring your pricing in a way that says, I want to make $10,000, here's what I'm going to deliver, as opposed to, I want to build all this stuff, what do you think I should charge? Flip it and say, I want to make $10,000 per customer, and then realize you have to be in a completely different mindset. You can't get to a $10,000 per customer level on the same thinking that got you to your current $500 or $1,000 customer level. You have to 10x your own thinking as much as your price and as much as your deliverables. Now, the reality is that you probably already are delivering a $10,000 website or a $10,000 marketing funnel or a $25,000 marketing funnel. You're probably already delivering that. If I showed you any of the projects that we've worked on, I think you'd be very surprised about how much, if anything, ours are probably stripped back a lot more. If anything, you might even be over-delivering on what we're delivering and what we do. But the difference comes, first of all, with our market. We're super, super clear about the market that we can serve and the market that we can work with. And what's also interesting is that when I say, okay, well, we're only going to work with authors who want to build courses, they have to have 1,000 customers on their email list. They have to have at least 100 customers. They have to have a $1,000 product. They have to have a $5,000 product. They have to have a $10,000 product, because I know that I need to sell 2 of their $10,000 products or 5 of their $5,000 products or 25 of their $1,000 products in order to pay for my costs for the year. And obviously, as I scale that out, I become a partner, or our team becomes partners with them to say, okay, well, what about $100 products? Let's look at selling them. And then $19 products, and then ebooks and smaller courses. So we start with our market, and we're really clear about the types of people we can get results for. If you were a sports coach and someone approached you and said, hey, I really want to learn how to run, just run. They say, I want to run, because that's what businesses do. And they come to us, they say, hey, I want to make more money. I've heard about this online marketing thing. I've heard about e-commerce. It sounds pretty cool. I really want to get involved. So if someone came up to you and says, I just want to run, two questions you're going to have to ask them. One, how far do you want to go? And two, how far are you running now? Because if someone comes up to you and they say, I really want to run a marathon, and I want to run a sub 4-hour marathon, and you look at them and they're a little bit out of shape and they're a little bit overweight, and you go, okay, cool. When do you want to do that? They go, oh, well, I'm booked in for a marathon next week. Nothing I can do about that. How fast are you running a marathon now? And they go, well, I've never run a marathon. I barely do 5K. I'm like, well, a week is not a long enough time. 6 weeks pushing it to run a marathon. According to Liv, my partner, she reckons anyone can run a marathon within 6 weeks, but definitely not sub 4, okay? That requires a lot of training and a longer time scale. If someone else comes to you, if a second customer comes to you and says, I want to run a sub 4-hour marathon, I've currently run 2 marathons this year, and I've got another 6 months before my next one. Can you help me? Then yeah, they're already closer to their goal. So it's going to make more sense for you to work with them. Now, here's the irony, is that customer for that smaller difference is actually going to be willing to pay more than the customer with the larger goal. And the reason for that is because the larger goal is almost insurmountable for the amount of time and effort that they're willing to put in. But the smaller goal, to finally make that transition, it's not the transition of, oh, I've run a marathon, now I'm going to run a third marathon. Is I've run a marathon and I want to do a sub 4. So even though the time scale is different, and even though they're currently close to the goal, that transformation into someone who's running a sub 4-hour marathon is so much bigger. That transformation is so huge in comparison to someone who's never run before, because first you just have to get them moving. Think about your customers in the same way. The transition that you're allowing them to get to is someone who goes from, yeah, I want to go from $50,000 to $100,000, or $250,000 to $500,000. Ramping someone up from 0 to 100,000 is infinitely harder work, and chances are they're not going to have the budget. But getting someone from 100,000 to 150,000, or even 100,000 to 200,000, doubling their revenue, so actually making more, but the difference is slightly less, but the transformation is enormous. So the goal, it's like the goal wide is actually that wide, and you're going to fill in that space. But the transformation to double the size of their business is so enormous compared to the actual goal and compared to the work that you put in, then it seems a cinch that they absolutely should be paying someone $10,000 or $25,000 for that. The second half of the equation is that we're very specific about what it is that we offer. For our funnel agencies, we don't do everything. We don't do a huge amount of like landing pages and squeeze pages. We do quite a bit of email marketing and email campaigns. We predominantly focus on driving people to webinars and then driving people to sales pages and having checkout pages and upsell pages. So sales funnels and webinar funnels are kind of our bread and butter. That's where we work really well. We also tend to, that's further narrowed down into course-based businesses. That's further narrowed down into authors who have got course-based businesses, and further narrowed down into authors who have got previous customers in a current list who want to transition into courses, who want to sell those courses via webinars and sales funnels. So you can see how specific that is. But because we're so specific, in a weird way, we can actually offer more content, offer a higher price to them than someone who kind of tries to do everything. If you've ever walked into I don't know, let's take Swarovski, for example, those kind of glass cut, I don't know, there are diamonds, they're not real diamonds or whatever it is. You walk into a Swarovski shop, they only sell one thing, and it's Swarovskis. Yeah, it is Swarovski diamonds, right? So they only sell one thing. Now, regardless of whether you feel that diamonds actually are expensive or a commodity or that whole kind of debacle going on there, they only sell one thing. It'd be very hard for someone to transition that same product into a shop that sells everything. You know, you go into those shops in your high street and they've kind of got a little bit of everything, got some homeware products, they've got a few clothes, they've got a bit of food, got some drinks and stuff, they have a few toys for the kids, they've got a few books. They try to sell everything, and in fact what it means is that they never actually specialize in anything, and frankly never make any kind of profit or revenue. And you can see that in a lot of businesses, particularly in the UK, businesses that have tried to sell everything end up actually selling nothing, and it becomes very difficult for them to move out that cycle. So by focusing down on the type of customer that you can help and the type of service that you can offer, that instantly changes the types of services that people are going to desire from you and the pricing level. Here's what's interesting. You don't have to scale up. This is the final point. You don't have to go $500 to $1,000 to $2,000 to $5,000 to $10,000. Think to yourself, what do I have to deliver in order to justify $10,000? So don't think about, I want to do all of this stuff, how much can I charge for it? Think, I want to charge $10,000, what am I going to deliver? Then think to yourself, what does a $10,000 per project business look like? Do they produce content? Do they produce videos like this? Do they have a podcast? Do they have a network of people? Are they regularly meeting up with people? Now, don't worry about the, oh, my customers will think that's too expensive. We'll probably come on to that on another video, to be honest. But if people do say, that seems very expensive, my answer is always, yeah, it is. Yeah, of course it is. Just like a car is expensive. Just like a house is expensive. You have to pay good quality money to get good quality services and products from people. That's why you should be completely unashamed. And if someone kind of has a go at you, go, oh, wow, I think that's disgraceful. And I get this all the time. A lot of events that I go to, people say, that's disgraceful. You install a WordPress theme, a few plugins. You don't even write the content. You just upload their content and you charge $25,000 for it. That's disgraceful. And I kind of think, well, if that's so disgraceful, why aren't you able to do it then? If if it's so easy, or if you think I'm conning people, why aren't you able to do it? The reality is I'm not conning people. We go through an enormously collaborative process in order to get them results and start generating revenue for them in ways that previously, like, it might as well be sci-fi to them. They had absolutely no idea that they could generate money through presenting to people online and then converting them into a sale. So be completely unashamed about your pricing model. If you reply to me on these comments and say, actually, I want $100,000 per marketing funnel, I will be the first one to tell you that that is absolutely the level that you should be going at. You should be deciding the price of your product. When people say the market dictates the product, that's really true for commodities. And even then, it's got enormous caveats. We talked earlier about diamonds. There's no shortage of diamonds. There's no reason for diamonds to be at the price they are. They're completely dictated by the amount they've got in vaults. So even then, it's not entirely true. Almost went on for a conspiracy theory there. So yeah, basically, if you want to start charging $10,000 per marketing funnel as opposed to $500, you've got to flip the model that you are working on and thinking about, rather than thinking, what can I charge for all of this? Think about, I've got $10,000, what can I deliver? And then go out and start finding people who have got $10,000 to invest in their own business. That's what they're doing. They're putting money in their own business. We'll come on to it another time. Thanks very much, guys. I'm Mike from Sell Your Service. Keep building those funnels. Hello, welcome to the end video where we've got a video here, I think, kind of like that, and then our little subscribe box here. So go ahead and check those out. This one here is on pricing for your funnel business as well, and this is our channel just down there that you can go ahead and subscribe to. Thanks very much. See you later, guys. Bye now.